Think about how many times you've gotten yourself out of bed to get the kids off to school, to go to work, to do any number of a million things that you didn't particularly want to do, that you weren't particularly motivated to do, but you went ahead and did it anyway. And that's just how it's going to be sometimes with moving your body. Welcome to the Biking Wellness Podcast. I'm your host, Stacey Smith, and I lost 50 pounds riding my bike by focusing on what my body can do. Now, I teach other women how to do the same. I am obsessed with completely flipping the script on weight loss so that we can work out to feel good and feel strong. If you are ready to stop dieting, learn how to appreciate your body, and have fun riding your bike, you're in the right place. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome to the Biking Wellness Podcast. Welcome back. And if you're joining us for the very first time, a special warm welcome to you as well. Here at Biking Wellness, we are all a part of a community, and just by listening, you are 100% a part of this community. And I'm so excited to connect with you, and I'm very, very grateful that you are here. And I think this week's episode is going to have a little something in it for just about everyone. This podcast is for anyone who rides any kind of bike or any woman who wants to lose weight or both. There's something for everybody in here. And this week's episode is all about how to motivate yourself to get on the bike, or how to motivate yourself to move your body, because we all know that we do it to feel good, but sometimes we just don't feel like it. But before we dive in, I started a little initiative a couple of episodes ago where I've been reading your reviews on the air. It's been so fun, and I have been having such a great time with it, and I hope that you all are enjoying it too. So this week's review is from ASLTIFFM, and they say, "Thank you for gearing this toward the average person who doesn't necessarily care about the technical side of biking, but instead to talk to those of us who love biking and want to incorporate it into a happier and healthier life." Thank you so much for your review. I think this is so important. I think that when it comes to biking and wellness, that we don't want to have any kind of barriers, and there should never be this feeling of let's be hyper-focused on the numbers and the FTP and the miles per hour and all of these different things that not necessarily everybody really knows about. So I kind of think that's what you're getting at here is like, let's just talk about, how it's fun to ride bikes and how we can have such a good time doing it. Thank you so much for sharing this, for sharing your thoughts, and for leaving a review. It means so very much to me. And for everyone listening, if you would consider rating the podcast, reviewing the podcast. It is so helpful in terms of other women just like you finding the podcast. And who knows, maybe I'll be able to read your review on the air in a future episode too. So thank you so much for reviewing the podcast. Thank you so much for listening. And let's just go on and dive right into how to motivate ourselves to get on the bike, to move our bodies when we have no motivation or desire to do it whatsoever. All know that movement, biking in general, is so good for us. It's so good for our bodies to move, to walk, to bike, to strength train, to, do HIIT workouts and cardio workouts and all of these things. But sometimes we just don't feel like it. Sometimes the couch just feels really good. And sometimes, we just feel like we are so tired and we are so drained and we just can't do one more thing. Even though we know how good we feel after we go for a bike ride, after we go for a walk, after we move our body in some way. We know that it feels good. It helps us feel healthy. It helps us feel strong. But sometimes we just don't want to do it. I get this question all the time, how do I motivate myself to get on the bike? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about how to motivate ourselves, and we're going to talk about, what motivation actually is. We're going to talk about why waiting for it is kind of pointless. follow me here because we're going to really kind of dive into motivation as a thing and why it isn't really the best way to get yourself on the bike. And, what to do instead. So if we aren't going to be sitting around waiting for motivation to happen, then how are we going to actually get ourselves on the bike regularly moving our bodies? So let's just talk, first of all, about motivation, what motivation is and what motivation isn't, and why you shouldn't be sitting around waiting for it. So motivation, quite simply, is the desire to do something. When you are motivated to do that thing, you want to do that thing. And a lot of times we think that we need to convince ourselves that we really need to want to do something in order to do it, and that's just not true. There are plenty of things that we all do and do regularly that we very much don't want to do, but we go ahead and we do them anyway. And that is the mentality that I want you to be bringing to your bike. You don't have to want to ride it all of the time because that just isn't reasonable. For the vast majority of us, there are going to be days we want to ride and there are going to be days that we don't. And that isn't going to necessarily change, or wasting our energy on trying to come up with the motivation isn't really the best way to go about it. What we really, truly need, honestly, is discipline. We need discipline to ride our bikes, and we need discipline to move our bodies. You might be sitting here thinking, Stacy, am I in trouble? Why do I need discipline? Do I need to be disciplined? And no, that is not what I mean at all. I mean, think about how many times you've gotten yourself out of bed to get the kids off to school, to go to work, to do any number of a million things that you didn't particularly want to do, that you weren't particularly motivated to do, but you went ahead and did it anyway. And that's just how it's going to be sometimes with moving your body. Even the most tried and true of athletes are going to have those days where they just don't feel like it, where they just don't want to get on the bike. And what you need in those moments is discipline. And this isn't like a tough love type of situation that I'm expecting you to set up for yourself. I want you to recognize and acknowledge the fact that you don't want to ride today. And I want you to be honest with yourself about that and just acknowledge it and say to yourself, hi, me. I know you don't feel like getting on your bike. I know you don't feel like going for that walk. I know that this couch is feeling really comfy right now, but I'm telling you that it's totally fine that you don't want to do it, but you're going to go ahead and you're going to do it anyway. We cannot want to do something and still do it. We do it all of the time. So if that is something that's kind of holding you back because you're feeling like you should always want to be motivated to get on your bike and you should always want to just hop out of bed and be like, I can't wait to ride my bike today. Well, I'm telling you that you're going to be possibly waiting a really long time if you think that that's what you need in order to get on your bike. You really don't need motivation. What you need is discipline. And discipline is reminding yourself how much better you will feel when you have done what you plan to do. Reminding yourself, hey, I know you don't want to do this, and that's totally fine, but you're going to feel way better after when you do. And it is going to bring you that much closer to getting the results that you want. You are going to have so much more control over yourself and your body if you just do the things you need to do, even when you don't want to do them. Okay? So you want to acknowledge that you're not feeling like it and acknowledge that you don't want to ride your bike, and then have the discipline to go ahead and do it anyway. Now, there will be days where you don't need motivation because you have it and you're just like, yeah, it's beautiful outside and I can't wait to get on my bike. And that's great. That's not what this episode is for. This episode's for those days where you just don't feel like it. And you have to have the discipline to go ahead and do it anyway. The next thing that I want to talk to you about in terms of getting on your bike is making it easy. And I've alluded to this in previous episodes, but I just want to make sure that we're really clear that it's so important to remove barriers and obstacles to getting on the bike. You want to make it as easy for yourself day to day to ride your bike or to walk or to go for a run as you possibly can. So I like to keep all my cycling clothes in one drawer. Try to keep all of your workout clothes in one place if you can. Keep all of your biking stuff together for your outdoor rides in one place or your indoor rides in one place. So the idea is that you don't want to be running around hunting for all the things, because I'm telling you, that is one way for discipline to go out the window. Because if you're not motivated to ride your bike in the first place and you can't find the things that you need, you're just going to throw up your hands, say screw it, and plop yourself back down on that couch. So if you have everything in one place, that's one thing. You want to make it easier. Also, one thing that I have found to be really helpful in terms of getting myself on the bike and when I'm really resistant to it is having kind of this bare minimum of what I actually need to get the ride accomplished. When I ride indoors, sometimes I don't even bother putting on padded bike shorts because my Peloton seat is comfortable enough for me that I can get through a shorter ride without having padded bike shorts. So sometimes I'll just wear the leggings that I wore under a dress to work and just change my top. I make it really simple and really easy. I won't even change into cycling socks. I'll just wear whatever socks I was wearing that day. And I actually have an older pair of cycling shoes that I wear with socks that I've been wearing every day, just so that I don't get my new cycling shoes stinky. I mean, these are little things, but they really make it easier because when you're unmotivated to ride, your brain is going to come up with all of the reasons why you can't. Like, oh, I don't want to get into my workout clothes, and I don't even know where my cycling socks are, and I don't feel like changing my socks. Trust me, there have been days where I would not have gotten on the bike if I had to change my socks because I was just like, that is too much for me right now. And if you think that's ridiculous, by all means, feel that way. I mean, I kind of feel a little ridiculous saying it, but that's the truth. There have been times where if I had to change my socks into cycling socks, I wouldn't have bothered riding. So if I can just wear the leggings I wore to work, change my top, and wear the same socks in my old cycling shoes and hop on the Peloton for 15, 20 minutes, then to me, that's a win. That's a ride. So that actually brings me to the next thing I wanted to talk about, which is that something is always going to be better than nothing in terms of a ride. A short ride is better than no ride. An easy ride is better than no ride. So don't feel like your ride has to be this really long, hard effort. And if you've heard me say this before, you might think, but, and no, there's no buts. A shorter ride is always better than no ride. Always, because it keeps you in the habit of moving your body. It keeps you disciplined in terms of moving your body and getting on that bike as often as frequently possible. So if you only have time for 5 or 10 minutes, that is worth it. Is it going to burn as many calories as a 50-minute ride? Of course not. But that's not why we ride our bikes. We don't ride our bikes to burn calories. We ride our bikes to feel good. And even if you only do 5 or 10 minutes, you are going to feel way better than you would if you did nothing at all. So something is always better than nothing. And, done is better than perfect. I remind myself of this all the time, not even just with movement, but with every aspect of my life. Done is better than perfect. I don't need to have the perfect bike ride every single time. I don't need to make, the perfect dinner every single time. It's important that there's food for my family to eat. And it's important that I stay in the habit of moving my body. I'm not always going to do all of those things perfectly every single time. So if you remind yourself that something is better than nothing, if you remind yourself that done is better than perfect, then you are that much more likely to have success in continually getting on your bike. The next thing that I want to talk about is that if all else fails, and for me, sometimes it does, do not be ashamed of resorting to little tricks or rewards to get yourself on the bike. So sometimes we're not motivated to ride. Sometimes, something's better than nothing. That doesn't do it. We're like, no, I'm like 5 minutes and I'm going to do diddly. So why should I even bother? Sometimes there seems like there's insurmountable obstacles to getting on the bike. And so we have to resort to our last ditch tricks, our last ditch efforts. I've got a few of these here. These are some of the things that have worked for me. Think about them because they might work for you as well. The first one, and I tell everyone this all the time, is just to commit to putting on your biking clothes. Just commit to putting on your workout clothes. That's it. If you're going for a walk, just commit to putting on your sneakers. Just be like, I'm going to put my sneakers on today. And then once your sneakers are on, It's like, oh, well, I guess I'll just walk out the door. Just trick yourself into doing those little things. Once I have my workout clothes on and I'm walking around the house in my workout clothes, I'm so much more likely to get on the bike. There was definitely at least one occasion where I fell sound asleep on the couch after putting on my workout clothes. But more likely than not, I am going to get myself on the bike because half the battle is just putting the clothes on. 5 minutes. Something's better than nothing. Tell yourself, you know what? I'm just going to ride for 5 minutes. I'm just going to walk around the neighborhood for 5 minutes. I'm just going to walk to the end of the driveway and back. That is something. If you walk to the end of the driveway and back every single day, depending on how long your driveway is, that is going to be 10 to 15 minutes of movement that you didn't do the previous week. It doesn't need to be long. Just remind yourself, just put on the workout clothes. All I need to do is 5 minutes. And give yourself permission to quit after those 5 minutes. If you have 5 miserable minutes and you're just not feeling it, let yourself get off the bike. That's okay. But chances are, more likely than not, after you're already on it, after those 5 minutes, you're going to be like, well, I might as well do 5 more. I'm already here. So that trick works for me. Next, if it's too much work to ride outside, just ride indoors. A lot of times I think those of us who like to ride our bikes, both indoors and outdoors, we think that an indoor ride is somehow a cop-out. It's not. I love riding on my Peloton. It is so much fun, and it is so much better than not riding at all. And sometimes I probably get a better workout on it, or get a better workout indoors than I do outdoors. You've probably heard that indoor riding is consistently more difficult because you never really get to go downhill when you're riding indoors. An indoor ride is absolutely, it counts, and it probably is easy for you. So that's totally fine. And then if you are riding indoors, have a show that you watch only when you're on your bike. Have a special treat for yourself, kind of bribe yourself into riding your bike. And there was a time where I was watching Bridgerton on Netflix, and I would only let myself watch Bridgerton when I was on the bike. And then I think it was The Perfect Couple on Netflix. I would only let myself watch The Perfect Couple when I was on the bike. And so that kind of helped motivate me to get on the bike. And I remember hearing this some time ago that, oh, you're not getting as good of a workout if you're watching TV while you ride your bike. And I say, screw that. Who cares? Honestly, if you're getting on the bike and moving your body, who cares if all of your attention isn't focused on that thing? Because if the difference is between you getting on the bike or not, then by all means, watch your favorite show while you're doing it. And then my next tip for you, my next little hack for you, is to get in a routine of having something to look forward to after your ride. So for me, it's my post-workout protein shake. It is delicious. It tastes like chocolate milk. I take milk, I take an unflavored whey protein and hot cocoa mix and shake it up. Or I'll do milk, whey protein, and what was the last thing? Oh yeah, matcha. Sometimes I'll make myself what basically is a matcha latte with protein. And then I put some creatine in it. And I have what is both my post-ride workout recovery, which is super, super important. And I have something that tastes absolutely delicious. I love to just sit on the patio or sit on my couch with my post-workout protein shake. It's so good. And I will link my ingredients to the protein shakes in the show notes too, so that, and tell you kind of how to make it, because I don't know about you, but I really do not like traditional protein mixes. They call them vanilla ice cream flavor and all of these other fancy flavors. And to me, they always just taste artificial. I am not a big fan of artificial sweeteners. I have real sugar in kind of all of my beverages, and yet I still manage to be healthy and lose weight. So I will share with you kind of what products I use if you're interested, so that you can have something that actually freaking tastes good. And don't be above kind of using these different types of tricks to get yourself on the bike. Remind yourself oh, I'm going to watch Bridgerton and then I'm going to have my protein shake after, and it's going to be delightful and wonderful. So when you are not motivated to ride and discipline alone isn't cutting it, remind yourself of all of those really great things and great benefits. And of course, remind yourself of how good it feels to actually complete a ride. Okay? So the next time that you find yourself lacking motivation to ride the bike. Let's kind of, recap here a little bit. Many of us are here and hanging out together because we love to ride our bikes, but even still, we don't always feel like it. So when you're in that situation, acknowledge it. It's okay. Say, hey, I know you don't want to ride your bike right now. That's totally fine. You don't want to wait for motivation, for that desire to do something, because it might never come. You have to use your discipline. Acknowledge you don't feel like riding and tell yourself, it's fine that you don't want to do this. You're going to go ahead and do it anyway. You're going to feel so much better when you do. You're going to also want to remove as many barriers and obstacles as possible to getting on the bike, keeping your bike clothes together, making sure that if you feel like there's way too many steps, shorten the number of steps, kind of have that least barrier to entry with the bare minimum number of things that you need to ride, either indoors or outdoors. Like, you don't need to bring your bike computer and all your snacks and all of the things to every single ride. Sometimes you can just start your ride on your watch, or I know this is crazy pants to some of you, but just don't even bother recording the ride at all, because it does count regardless of whether or not it is on the Strava or you record it on your Apple Watch or your Garmin watch or whatever kind of device that you're using. Also, remember, something's better than nothing. A short ride is better than no ride. You want to just get in the habit of moving. Even if you can only go out for a 5-minute walk during your lunch break, that is going to be better than nothing. And then finally, don't be afraid of using little tricks and little hacks and little rewards and little bribes, if you will, to get yourself on that bike, to get yourself to move your body. It could be the post-ride recovery shake that I am clearly obsessed with, watching your favorite show, having that kind of lined up for you when you're done can be so useful and so helpful. And just remember, no matter what, whether you get on the bike or not, this is really important. So if you've been multitasking this whole episode, please come back to me. Please really tune into this. Whether you are getting on the bike or not, whether you move your body or not, do not beat yourself up if you didn't find the motivation or the discipline to ride. It's just not useful. You can certainly be curious about it. You can certainly kind of check in with yourself, and you should ask yourself, why didn't I get on the bike today? What was the problem? Because you always have the opportunity to ride again tomorrow. You always have another opportunity to get on the bike, to go for a walk, to go for a hike, to go for a run, to do that strength workout. There will always be another opportunity to do the thing. Beating yourself up over the fact that you didn't do it today, it's not going to help. It's just going to make you feel bad. And it's just going to cause you to say, screw it, I guess I'm not going to really bother riding my bike anymore anyway, because I don't want to feel bad anymore. So please, please, please do not beat yourself up if you end up choosing not to get on the bike. Like I said, there was that one time where I put on all my workout clothes and promptly fell asleep on the couch. Trust that your body was doing what it needed to do in that moment for you. And if that meant skipping that ride, then that meant skipping that ride. Okay? And just think about me. Like, if I were right next to you when this happens, when you skip a ride, what would I say to you? Would I be like, you freaking idiot, why didn't you get on your bike? Of course not, because I love you and I care about you. And I know that you did what you needed to do to get through that moment, to get through your day. So don't beat yourself up. It's just not useful. Ask yourself what got in the way, make a plan, and see when you can move your body again. Thank you so much for joining me for another episode of the Biking Wellness Podcast. I hope that you enjoyed the time together today as much as I do. I just truly love having this chat with you every single week. It's kind of like, it makes my heart so happy that we have this time together. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining me. Please don't forget to rate and review the podcast. Share it with a friend. And if you would like to take this conversation further, I actually also have a totally free Facebook group for the biking wellness community, and I will link that in the show notes and in the description as well. This community is full of hundreds of awesome women just like you. So definitely check that out. Come and join us because we can continue to chat in there. Until next time, my friend, ride on. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of the Biking Wellness Podcast. Be sure to head on over to sassy.com/guide, SASCY.com/guide, to get my completely free Lose Weight Biking Quick Start Guide so that you can get started with simple, doable weight loss today. That's sascy.com/guide.